What if most of your success, and most of your mistakes, come from a tiny fraction of events you won't see coming? What if the thing that makes people truly wealthy is the ability to say no to showy stuff, and the thing that makes people miserable is the way they use money to impress others? In this video, we'll unpack 3 chapters that change how you see outcomes, freedom, and status signals, and teach you practical, weirdly simple moves to get better with money. In this video, we'll explore Chapter 6, Tails You Win, Chapter 7, Freedom, and Chapter 8, Man in the Car Paradox. Expect stories about rare events that change everything, the real value money buys, control of time, and why the things we buy to impress others rarely impress the people we want to impress. I pulled these ideas directly from the book and rewrote them so they're ready for narration and visuals in your editor. Let's start with tails. No, not animal tails, the statistical tails. The rare, extreme events that are tiny in frequency, but enormous in impact. Housel's big blunt point. A few events drive most outcomes in business, investing, and many areas of life. That means the world is tail-driven, and if your strategy ignores tails, you're blind to the real drivers of success. Housel uses a neat analogy. Comedians test hundreds of jokes in small clubs. Only a few make it to Netflix. Rock stars play dozens of small venues before a few songs explode into blockbuster hits. The finished product hides the thousands of trials behind it. The same goes for investing. Buffett's wealth looks like genius, until you realize most of it came from a handful of bets. Charlie Munger even said remove those top bets, and Berkshire's track record is pretty average. That's tails at work. If tails drive results, then 1. Randomness matters. 2. You'll be wrong often and still be okay. 3. Finding the tails is partly skill, partly luck, and partly persistence. The implication is humbling. Success isn't just about being right a lot, it's about the size of the wins when you are right. George Soros nailed it. It's not whether you're right that matters, it's how much you make when you're right, and how much you lose when you're wrong. This lesson changes how you think about diversification and effort. If a few decisions move the needle, overworking tiny edge cases usually won't help. Instead, create a system that captures the occasional outsized wins and survives the rest. Housel's practical example. A simple, steady savings and index investing approach captures the economy's occasional tail successes without betting the farm on any single guess. Consistency, plus long time, bonks, exposure to the tails that matter. It's tempting to heroically chase the next big hit, the startup, the crypto, the one-call stock, but recognize the cognitive traps. Humans overestimate patterns they see and underestimate rare events they don't. Good strategies are humble about what they can predict and aggressive about exposure over time. That paradox, humility in method, boldness in exposure, is the backbone of tail success strategies. Build systems that keep you in the game long enough for tails to show up. Avoid one-way bets that can end your game. Leverage, concentrated ruin. Favor optionality, small bets with unlimited upside. Save and invest consistently. Time is the engine that lets tails work. If tails teach us to respect rare events and to design for them, Chapter 7 flips the lens. What does money actually buy? Housel's answer is simple and deeply human: time and control. Chapter 7 is a short chapter with a loud idea. The highest form of wealth is the ability to wake up and say, I can do whatever I want today. Money's greatest dividend isn't the cars or watches, it's control of your time, the freedom to choose how to spend your life. When you buy that, everything else changes. Housel cites research and life lessons. People who have more control over their time report higher well-being than those who merely have more stuff. We're wired to value autonomy. You can buy temporary happiness with consumption, but the slow, steady effect of choosing how to spend your days compounds to far greater satisfaction. That's the stealth ROI of savings and financial independence. Housel makes a clever point. Cash in the bank that gives you options to change jobs, take time off, or wait for opportunities yields a return that's incalculable. It's not measured in interest, it's measured in choices. That hidden return is massive because it protects you against forced decisions made under stress and gives you the chance to act when others are desperate. Treat savings as a tool for flexibility, not just future consumption. Maximize your margin for error An emergency fund is freedom insurance. Choose careers or paths that give you some control over time, even if pay is lower. Use money to buy time early. It compounds emotionally the way capital compounds financially. Housel tells of people who achieve the dream, a high-paying prestige career, and end up miserable because they traded autonomy for status. The lesson: if the goal of accumulating wealth is to control your life, don't confuse the means with the end. Use money to buy the things that actually make life workable, not just showy signals that impress strangers. Which brings us to a neat paradox. We often spend money to signal status, expecting admiration, but the very people we want to impress rarely notice. That's Chapter 8, The Man in the Car Paradox. This chapter begins with a simple observation from Housel's valet days. When you see someone driving a Ferrari, you think, if I had that car, people would think I'm cool. But you rarely think about the driver. The paradox is this: money spent to signal status mostly impresses other people who also care about signals, not the people whose approval you crave. In short, people admire the car, not the driver. People buy expensive things thinking they'll earn admiration or respect. But admiration is rarely targeted the way you expect. Most of the time, flashy purchases are admired by other people who also display wealth, and ignored by those you actually want to impress: family, friends, or colleagues who care more about character than hardware. Spending to impress is a poor short-term happiness strategy and a lousy long-term wealth strategy. Housel frames spending as an expression of ego. You want people to treat you differently. But the truth is subtle. The social signal you're buying rarely maps to the social reward you expect. Worse, the signal often costs you future freedom, monthly payments, lifestyle inflation, stress. You exchange optionality and time for a fleeting feeling of being admired. That's why wealth is often what you don't see. Don't let status signals drive spending decisions. Ask, will this make my life better or just make me look a certain way? Remember hidden costs: maintenance, payments, attention, worry. Want admiration? Try humility, competence, or time with people you love. Those are signals with lasting payoff. Build wealth by not buying things that don't increase your freedom. It's ironic. The very displays meant to make us feel powerful often make us poorer and less free. The antidote isn't asceticism, it's thoughtfulness. Spend where it counts, on time, relationships, and options. And skip the things that give you temporary applause. Tails drive outcomes. A few rare events often produce most of the returns. Design systems to survive and capture those tails. Freedom is the highest dividend. Money's greatest payoff is control over your time, the ability to choose how you live. Save and invest to buy options, not just things. The man in the car paradox. People admire things, not people. Spending to impress often misfires. It costs time, optionality, and real happiness. Which of these ideas would change your next money decision? Taking more small bets over time, saving to buy freedom, or skipping a purchase meant to impress? Tell me in the comments. I read them and I'll reply. If this helped you, hit like and subscribe. Next up, we'll cover chapters 9-11, where we'll dig into hidden wealth, a simple case for saving, and why being reasonable matters more than being theoretically perfect. I'll show you how to make small, actionable changes to your money habits that add up in surprisingly large ways.